around content and marketing. And with me is this powerhouse of knowledge, of experience, this lovely group of people that have been doing this stuff for a very long time, collectively longer than I've been alive. So I'll go down the list of participants, starting with Alexander Rodriguez Silva. He is the founder and principal of Semantico SEO. Then we have Andrea Volpini. He is the co-founder and CEO of WordLift. Then we have Jason Barnard. He is the CEO of CaliCube. And lastly, but the best comes last, is Olesia Korobka. She is the principal and founder of Pagella. So with that, I'm just going to paint a little bit of the introduction. You know, we have had a massive upheaval in the way that we do things with the web, the way we interact with the web, the adoption of generative AI and LLMs, and all these sorts of tangential topics has created a flood of content, synthetic content or a machine augmented content. And you know, you as an individual can feel it. Your organization certainly feels it. People are trying to figure out what to do, how to navigate all this complexity, all these changes that are happening every week, seemingly. IP, you know, there's just so much going on. And it's only until recently that we've seen search engines start to combat some of these synthetic content. So with that, I'll let the lovely panel sort of direct the flow of this conversation. And yeah, the floor is your guys.
I started. Yeah. So hello, everyone. Yeah. Hello, everyone. It's Alex here from Brazil. I very happy to see these all intelligent and profitable people here in this meeting. This is a huge problem in my field of work in SEO. So how Joaquin talked about earlier, we have Google put some big efforts to not stop it, but put in the right direction in the manner of the company. So we need to talk that all the time, and especially think about that all the time, because what we create content for the search engines or for the people who needs this content, this information. This is my view, and we talk about that in this time. Thank you very much, Joaquin, to having me. Go ahead, Andrea.
Oh, wow. I'm gonna start just sending some provocative ideas at the table. I think that we have a group of people that is very well equipped to understand, you know, what is happening. I think that, so my first thinking is that, you know, the synthetic web that we're seeing, it will stay, and synthetic content will continue to grow. So that's the first kind of line of thought, is that, you know, it has happened. Google management wasn't ready for the pace at which things happened. And Google has always had this Achilles heel of spam. You know, a search engine with spammy content doesn't work, and so the entire system it's meant to collapse if spam is not controlled. But this has nothing to do with synthetic media. I mean, synthetic media per se, and that's the second line of thought, it's not bad, right? I mean, if it fulfills the user need, then I don't see a problem. I see that people are scared about search engine becoming more conversational because we are attached to the clicks as a metric, and so we think that that's and we measure success through the clicks. and therefore we're scared about the idea that a generative AI system can provide an answer. But and again, this is not the problem. So the problem is that so the first thing and the first idea that I want kind of throw at the table is that synthetic media is here to stay, and we're not gonna come back. There's not gonna be kind of a way to undo the process and have more human curated content. We will have more synthetically generated content than we ever had, and it would be overwhelming. It's going to be overwhelming simply because machines are way faster at producing content. The second line of thought is that generative AI in search per se is not a bad idea at all, because rather than having a user sifting through links, if we provide an answer and the answer is correct, then what is the problem? I mean, yes, there is a balance between people that create the content and the traffic that it's sent to the website, the fair use, and of course a lot of these large language model have been built by infringing intellectual property. So this is a problem. So we do have problems, but we shouldn't kind of focus on the problem without understanding the advantage of using these technologies. And I'm totally against AI generated content when it's done for the sole purpose of creating traffic or the sole purpose of growing revenue. I mean, content has to have value, but and language models do have a lot of issues. So that's also very clear. I mean, this is a technology that it's an intermediate phase, designed to be faulty, designed to hallucinate. There's no way of fixing the problem, at the technological level. I mean, the core of a language model cannot be fixed. It just works by statistics. So the way in which it's working, it's way better than we could expect it. It's just that this is not a solution to the problem, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm done. These are kind of my ideas.
Right. Well, at Calicube, we've been kind of pondering this a lot with generative AI, ChatGPT, Google Search Generative Experience, Bing Copilot, Perplexity. And at the end of the day, the trick moving forward is going to be, how do you become part of the conversation between the machine and the human? That's where you start playing the game. And then if you can get the machine to introduce you to the conversation it's having with the human, then you've got an opportunity to start winning the game. And if you can get the machine to recommend you as the best solution in that conversation with the human, you've won the game. Winning the game is the perfect click. And it's what Bing called the perfect click, and I believe Google too. It's the click where somebody comes to your website and converts. And so the idea for Bing and for Google is to recreate the funnel on their machine, on their SERP, and bring the person down the funnel. So get into the conversation, be introduced by the machine, get the machine to recommend you as the perfect solution with the perfect click. That's the solution. It sounds very simple, and of course it isn't. It's a huge amount of work. But what I love about it is if you're going to communicate the entire funnel, including what you offer, who you offer it to, why you're the most credible solution, and all the details of your offer all the way down the funnel, you need to communicate a lot, and you need to communicate widely in multiple formats, which means a digital marketing strategy where you're communicating with the right audience in the right words with the right material. So actually, we're moving towards a situation where normal business driving digital marketing is the solution to this particular problem from a business perspective. And if we come to Calicube, works a lot on personal branding, especially for CEOs and founders. You need to maintain your differentiator. You need to be different for your personal brand to resonate, to mean something. And that means using generative AI to create your content. No, you can use it to help you, but you're not going to have the differentiator if you just use generative AI to create your content. So in the personal branding space, at least, I'm not worried at all. This is going to be such a bundle of fun in the coming years, and we're really looking forward to it. Olesia, how do you feel?
I feel very good about everything else. I'm seeing that some positive movements include that people who are at the front of this AI thing, they are starting to talk with publishers. They're starting to talk with people who own the platforms like Reddit, like Stack Overflow, and they are buying their APIs. The drawback in that is that the users of these platforms, they don't get this portion of money to sustain and continue developing the platform. But anyways, it's a good beginning because we've never had this technology before in our marketing. And now, while we are still trying to get to the ending point, if it's anywhere there, then just trying to do something is already a very good step. And now we can see the conversions actually from these platforms in our Google Analytics, for example. So we can log in and see how many people came from ChatGPT, how many people came from Copilot and everything else, and how many of them actually converted. I hope that Google also introduces those referrals from Gemini, but I don't think that Gemini provides many links at the moment. It's quite hard to get it from them. But anyways, as they are going, I think they've declared that they are going to introduce search generative experience in May. Yes, 14th of May or something like that. Ellie wrote about that. And if they also give us some feedback on how the users actually use this generative experience, that would be absolutely awesome. And in that part, we adopt to any new functionality that search engines have to bring to us. And if our users can find us easier and we can produce less content to make them help find us easier, then why not? Do we really need that much traffic on our website to all those strange blog posts that we've written to attract it that never converted? Or do we really need the exact customers who converted right there from Google and just came to buy on our website? Why not? And I'm very happy that those tools appear a lot, like those from Alexander or Andrea, where you can that can help you do that actually help you create your knowledge base. And with the knowledge base, there's a no-brainer to use LLMs on top of that to create any kind of content you want, curated by yourself and in the way you want to be presented to your audience everywhere at all. I'm also having good results from creating AI satellites for the website, where you may give users the opportunity to answer to their questions via chatbots, not necessarily ChatGPT. You can create your own bot, and it has enormous traffic to it. So users actually use these kind of things on many levels. Do you have any statistics on how many users actually go through them? Okay,
I got some interesting numbers from users coming from Perplexity and OpenAI. On OpenAI, I added 3 different GPTs around 3 different domains, and I'm monitoring the traffic that the GPT are able to bring to our website or to some client's website. And we are still in you know, like between 10 and 15%. But I didn't think it was possible. You know, if you would have asked me 6 months ago, would it be possible to drive traffic from, you know, something like you know, an application store with your AI app or you know, form of chat, but I would have said, I don't know, I'm not sure. So the fact that we're driving traffic from this new system, I think it's a good sign. But again, I'm not sure traffic is the real metric that we want to measure in the end. I mean, if you know, we see, for example, in shopping, in Google shopping ecosystem, the transaction could happen within the generative experience itself, and so we will just get the purchase order from from Google, and without going through the website. I mean, I know it sounds scary for many people, but if as long as we can track it, as long as the business comes to us, of course, yes, we can lose control of the user because of these gatekeepers handling the conversation. But I'm totally positive. I'm super excited. I've never been so excited about SEO as I am now, but maybe I haven't been in SEO in long enough.
Right. Well, talking about SEO is the kind of the irony for me is I come from what I thought was the SEO world. I built the Buwan Kuala website, as you know, Andrea, 1 billion web page views in 2007 for a kid's website. It was a huge success. 1 billion, that's a huge number. And I was always saying, oh, we were so good at Google. We got 200 million from Google. And I've been, I mastered SEO, and that's how I built my career. But now looking back, what I'd actually done is mastered digital marketing. 20% comes from Google and 80% comes from elsewhere. That's digital marketing. It's not SEO. So all of a sudden, I'm going back 20 years and saying, well, actually, I was already doing the right things way back then. And I thought it was SEO, but it wasn't. It was digital marketing. And the company was a success. So I was actually doing business. So I've now moved very strangely from business to SEO, then back through digital marketing, back to business. And now at Kalicube, we're really focusing on not the traffic, not the rankings, but omnipresent visibility across the digital ecosystem in front of the right audience. So you're standing where they're looking with the right offer, the right solution to their problem, inviting them down the funnel. And at Kalicube, we're back to the Buwan Kuala state, where 80% of our business doesn't come from Google. And interesting enough, people come on the call and say, I found you on LinkedIn, I found you on YouTube, I saw you on a webinar, and then I researched around you, searched your name, searched Kalicube's name, you look like the real deal. And every time I searched around the topic, that red shirt kept popping up. That's just great digital marketing. It's not SEO. Google becomes the validator of Kalicube and my status as the leader in this field of personal branding, solving digital marketing, whatever you want to look at. And ranking number 1 isn't part of our modus operandi. We rank number 3 or 4, but for a lot of different terms. And that omnipresence is what drives the business. And it's that omnipresence that drives the trust. And the trust is what drives the business. That's my new point of view. I'm a digital marketer businessman now, not an SEO at all. Woohoo!
Let me put something here, because I totally agree with Jason, because SEO is for me is not is more strategic from brand, connected to brands in this way, because when you have in 2, 3, 4, 5 position and your name on the SERP with billion people looking everywhere, every query, you are a brand. I have statistics in a lot of projects. When you go to position 3 or position 4, you pass to 100 position to million impressions. So it's very good for me, because I put people in the right page, in the right moment, and bring to the market people, this kind of people who want to know what I sell or what I'm talking about. This is a real deal for SEO. Even in regular SERP or AI SERP, I don't care. I put my brand and my page in the front of the right people. It looks like a person in the shop, go to the streets, tell the people what I sell, and bring the right people and put the seller. No, this is the way we do. We do with semantics, we do with AI, with content, with pages, in YouTube, and everywhere. So this is, for me, is this way of looking and way of looking information. I start to look that when I enter again in another graduation in information science, and start to look to the people and your necessity of information. This is a start of a search. And when you put a query on everywhere, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram is a necessity. Some person, my necessity. And what I need to learn from people's necessity to bring the content with AI in the middle. AI like my companion to think about these issues, think about how to bring information, bring together, develop this information, and put in the content. Not always a right content, a blog post, an article. Maybe it's turned in a video or this presentation or bring people to talk together. This for me, and I talk about this with Olesia and Andrea. I use word lift so many times using AI to understand entities in my content. AI all the time, and looks very good. And my impressions and my clicks is going up and up. So it's not a problem with AI. It's the person to look for the suggestions and don't think. We need to think because we have people in some point, and we have Google like a gatekeeper in the middle to decide what content, what people they put together. For me, is that thing. Google is like a gatekeeper and need to understand what is important for this machine, and maybe this creates this knowledge of working with Google, but looking for the people. This is my thoughts about that.
But sorry, you just said what's important for the machine, and in fact, the machines are trying to emulate human beings, i.e. understand what human beings are looking for. So at the end of the day, it's figure out what's important to the human beings who are your audience, and the machine is going to get there. Whether it's there now or not is one question, but that's where they're headed. So we might as well start preparing for that now. So Google often say, think about the user, and it's this terribly, terribly unhelpful thing to say. But what they should maybe be saying is think about the user, because that's obviously your final audience or the people you're actually trying to reach. But that's where we're going, even if we're not there yet. And the idea that the machine is being built to figure out how it can be the perfect interface between two human beings is a really nice way of looking at it. And seeing what's good for your audience is going to be good for the machine one day or another. It just depends on how long it takes the machine to get there. And coming back to the funnel idea, and this is Fabrice Canel from Bing, talking about we want to build the funnel in the generative AI, in the Bing Copilot. Help them build the funnel. And by doing so, it's what we're doing at Kalicube. We're building the funnel for our audience too, who come to our website and visit it, and they can come down the funnel on our website. They can do it on SGE or Bing Copilot. And it's helped us enormously understand what our funnel looks like and what our services are and what the limitations are and what the offers are. And I've found it to be an incredibly useful self-reflection, because it's forcing me to look at my business and what I'm offering people and how I'm offering it to them. And I'm taking it as a huge learning experience.
If I may just add a point here from an innocent bystander perspective, there's a couple elements here that we're kind of talking about, but business and the intent of a user are really what we're trying to lubricate, so a person can find the information they need to make a decision to buy or use a product or service. At the end of the day, that's what we're looking to facilitate, whether that's through a search engine, whether that's through some sort of intermediary AI tool, a chatbot, semantic mapping and the content that is created. So what are the opportunities here that you guys see? I mean, I think you've kind of already brushed upon them, but maybe explicitly we can talk a little bit about the things that people should be investing in as part of their core competencies, as part of their content production, as part of their strategy for adopting the gatekeepers, algorithms, and things like that. How can we help people understand that they can navigate this in a positive way?
I started. I think information in your company, because good information, when you put good information, you the the machines feeds with good information, not bad information. So for us, using basically like a taxonomy, ontology to organize the information for the company and bring together this with machine learning is a very good way to do it. And we see a good results when you do that. But it's not a easy task because historically, the information in the company, even big companies, is a mess. So we need a lot of work to organize that and put a good shape to then use machine learning in the good ways.
Ooh, and you said even in big companies, the organization of information is a mess. I'll bet my bottom dollar that Andrea has a story about that, or a story or two about the bigger
Yeah.
corporations actually have the biggest problem to start with.
Usually, the more the bigger you are, the more issues you have there. There is a term that I'm starting to use more frequently, which is value network, and so the idea of for the organization to map the value network, which is the relationship that enable the creation of the value through the different business activity. A value network, it's made of people, it's made of methodologies, it's made of partners. It's not static, it evolves. But this idea of the value network, I think I like it a lot because it kind of gives the dimension of the work that needs to be done. And of course, in some cases, we don't have it. I mean, as Jason was saying, we are forced to do it on our own, but it's always a discovery because you might realize that, I don't know, most of you are in my value network, by the way. And that means that I do interact with you and I get, information back and I get value back. And as an organization, I need to make sure that this is mapped, that this is accessible. People know that you exist, that this relationship exists. And I think this is the biggest challenge that we have to face. And AI has given us an option. Back to Joaquin, I'm not sure about the way in which you put it. We have to. I mean, the web is not about transaction. We don't need to transact. As long as we create value in the relationship, I think we're safe. We're on the safe side because transaction will always come as a result of a relationship. So end of the day, I think that we have to build dialogic experiences and be very clear on what is our value network and how is evolving. Jason say I was doing SEO, now I'm doing digital marketing. So that's a big shift in its value network. And there might have been people that were there in its previous version that are no longer there, and now there are new people there, or they are old client, new client. But if we fail to look at these changes, then we get disrupted by changes or change like the one that AI is bringing. If we're not fully aware, and of course this is even more true for large organizations because they constantly lose control over their value network. Where is the value network of a large organization? It's way harder to map it than for a startup like WorldLift or Calicube or.
Yeah, what I love there is the I've gone ironically from being a geek to being a businessman, and the network, as you said, has completely changed. The network of people with whom I'm exchanging day in, day out, and the people we're dealing with, and the clients we get. I was thinking, because this part was supposed to be about techniques, strategies, and tactics, and I'll bet my bottom dollar, Olesia's got boatloads of those.
I was just trying to say that, what Andrea mentioned about the value network, and you are building this one, and totally these big corporations, they can use AI to do that. to organize everything into this knowledge base to make it then usable. And I think that's something that WordLift partially does. If you feed them enough content, what they do is they actually do this mapping and create this knowledge base out of that, right?
So the
That's
ontology, I think, the design of an ontology for an organization is exactly that process. But who builds the ontology? Then there remains a question. I mean, WordLift has the tooling for building the knowledge graph, but sometimes understanding the ontology of an organization requires, more specialized insights than a tool maker can have, and that's why I love to work with with Alexander and any Olesia or anyone that it's on the front line and working with the client and kind of mapping the network. The technology cannot create a value network because it's not static, and also it's directed. So there's always, how do you want to be perceived as a brand? So there's always, I think, very smart individual or agency in between that instruct us or to build an ontology in one form or another. But I'm back to
Yeah,
ontology.
the problem
you can start with that. You can start with that, and you can get subject matter expert, and you can then get this new thing, like this paper that appeared a few months ago, I think, about the LLM agents, yes, that are actually the subject matter experts inside the LLM. So you may incorporate this. Of course, you cannot fully automate this kind of thing, and of course you need to update it regularly, but if you tokenize everything correctly, then it's like much easier, and it requires less resources. So why not? You can start it. Even if you see it as a big mess, you can organize it. A good thing with LLMs is that you can enter this field of mass from any point. And you can start doing that and then organize it smoothly with that way or another. And by the end, when you organize it, who knows how LLMs will develop? Will we continue having transformers, or will we find something better? Because transformers, even good ones, they still glitch a lot, and the results, they are not information retrievers, they are statistical mostly. So maybe there'll be some new technology, but anyways, when you have this organization of your database in this form or another, even the primitive one, even not ontology but some kind of repository of information, is always beneficial. You can always utilize it, you can always proceed with that, and you can always have profit because of this information that you've got already. And I've talked to John Muller, I keep saying this to everyone, in Switzerland a few months ago. He said that it's a very good idea, actually, because now, and it gives you freedom as a producer, as a manufacturer, and everything else. You don't need to produce lots of content now. You just want to ensure that the search engines and LLMs and whatever else, they do understand what you do and what your attributes are and what the attributes of your entities are, and how they can solve people's problems. And from that, when they understand that, you'll be shown everywhere to your users, because that's finally what search engines also want. They want to give their users the best answer to their questions. So it's like a no-brainer, a win-win situation when you do such a simple thing as organizing everything.
It is, and there are two things that come up there, and you said understand. That implies educate, and it's up to us to proactively educate the machines, which is what we've been doing at Kalicki for the last 9 years. Educate the machines so they understand what you offer and to whom, and why you're a credible solution, and you will appear everywhere. And it worked yesterday, works today, and it will work tomorrow. And the other is, Andrea was talking about brand perception. And brand perception all comes down to brand representation. How do I stand around the web? Which is also what Kalicki does. How do I stand around the web? How do I clean that up so the perception is clear, so that the machine understands? And then if the machine understands and perceives us the way we want to be perceived, then it can represent us the way we want to be represented to the right people at the right time with the right offer. And it's all about educating the machines. And I'm going to publish a book in a few weeks, Google as a Child, Learn to Make It Love You. And it all comes down to Google's a child, we're educating it. We need to educate it, and we need to take control of our own destiny and not just expect the machine to understand, which is what we tend to do. And the last thing I wanted to say is there's understanding, which is the first thing. Confidence in understanding is what people are often missing. Google can understand. Is it confident? If it's confident, it will shout. It's like a child in the playground. The child in the playground will not shout about something if they're not confident that they're right. So Google is stand in the playground and shout your glory to everybody who is your audience, the subset of its users who are your audience, if it is super confident in its understanding about you and super confident in your credibility to solve the user's problem, which is what Olesia just said. So thank you very much. I like that.
So if I may reframe the previous framing of the questioning, how do we establish a dialogue? How do we establish this ongoing relationship and communication with the people that we want to service? Where do we start there? I mean, I think you've said organize information, build a taxonomy, build an ontology, start looking through documents, leverage LLM agents that have some sort of specialized training as to what is there to augment that, lean on subject matter experts, but maybe a little bit more on the methodology or some of the tricks of the trade might help.
Well, I mean, if we're trying to engage with the audience, we could start with engaging with the audience. Branding, marketing, package it for SEO. That's how we approach it. Let's engage with the audience with our brand and our marketing. That needs to resonate with them. And then we just package it up. SEO is just packaging branding and marketing for Google and the other machines. It's as simple as that, which is just good business. And I think the SEO community aren't particularly happy with the idea that SEO is simply packaging for machines. But for me, that's how I now look at it. Sorry, Andrea, I interrupted you.
No. It's not. I mean, it's a good way. I think that digital marketing and SEO, they are very intertwined, more than we think in general. The communities are different. That I agree with you. You know, the communities are kind of different between digital marketing and SEO. But okay, so what are the techniques that we would use? Of course, yes, as Olesia was saying, I'm experimenting a lot with seeding ontologies using language models by reading that a brand might have online. Like, okay, what is the definition of beauty for a given brand? Provided a bunch of documents, the attributes around entities in the domain of beauty by reading existing content. This is the autonomous way, like kind of bottom-up approach. But then you also have to work top-down, because top-down you will start to look at the existing information architecture and question it and try to see, okay, do I need to bring these category into the knowledge graph? Are these needed? Can I create I have this entity and the relationship with this other entity? For me, it remains that the goal is to be able to have a conversation, to establish a relationship between 2 points. And so how do we create this relationship? We have to look at top down at the way in which the organization has structured their site. If they have a taxonomy, of course, it's party time. Usually they don't. Sometimes they do, and it's not updated. Or sometimes they do, but it's being used for other purposes, not for really representing the brand. But better when they do than when they don't have it at all, because at least they know what it is. And so that's simpler. The other aspect is, of course, every marketer has to build answers, finding the right answers. So helping the client understand, what are the problems that they are addressing and what are the, questions that the customer ask. It's part of the game, I think. That's very practical approach.
Yeah, I create a workflow and write a book about it. And I use the using domain building, create a taxonomy, even an ontology in some cases, and use this, like Andrea said, to everywhere in the project, to rebuild the website or create a new website, to create content. So this taxonomy used to talk about writers and content manager to think about what kind of subjects we talk about, the point of view this content, because our brains have an opinion or views in some subjects different from other companies in the same domain. We have to put our language and use taxonomy for that in websites, to create a vocabulary with entities, to create content, even to use in look for new business. Is common to see we develop a taxonomy and see some subjects with opportunity of new projects, of new service or products, and the companies go to research and develop some things. So for me, this workflow is I use that in my company, in my work. We study the domain of knowledge, we create a taxonomy or rebuild a taxonomy, and using all the projects to like a guide to not deviate or create content, we not work, bring people, we not convert, we not talk about the company, you know. So, and when we put this with machine learning together, the taxonomy and the machine learning, this start to happen something we don't see in the beginning, because the machine learning is very clever to understand what we need to talk about and suggest things very often very good in this process. So this is our approach using that, and I write a book about that to explain and reduce my workflow. So this is a way I do that.
In my work, I found out that if I wanted to convert people to use my approach, I need to talk about it like so basically, like to really a 5-year-old child or 6-year-old child. Because when I started to say ontologies, taxonomies, or something like that to business owners, they are like lose interest in less than 5 seconds and nothing gets implemented ever. So I decided to turn away from this lexics and vocabulary, and I just tell them very simply that to test this idea, because that's what is introduced into algorithms right now. We can do that on a very small subset of our products or our services, for example, and you'll see how fast it works and how good it is. The only drawback here is that you need to get some trust from Google to get these rankings, not only in search in experience or in LLMs, but they need to trust you, some like confidence score, whatever it is called. So it might take a bit more time when you do it on a very small subset. But anyways, you'll get there sooner or later. And training of LLMs is also getting some time. But anyways, so what you do, you just do super basic things. You optimize your content about your product or services in a very structural and easy to understand manner. Which is good for users when you have exactly what is called, what it does, how it can help your users, what is the image, and what its description, how much it costs. So it's really super basic. And those are very basic things that actually move the needle, how they say in niche markets. And simple structure, simple organization, even schema. They say schema is not ranking factor. It is not. But when you organize your information accordingly, when you do this architecture of your categories and products inside them, and you implement the schema which reflects confidently what this page is about and what you are waiting from the user to perform on this page, it works like magic, and it works across all the verticals, not only in LLMs, but like in simple rankings, and it works with your users very well. because they come to page, they see what they can do there, and they convert, and that's it.
And
No
to
magic.
build the machine's trust in you, the really good way to do that is to think, how can I get my users to trust me? And then package that for the machines. So once again, we come to the audience first, the machines, packaging from the machine second. And the other interesting point is with what we've been doing over the years is once the machines trust you, you can feed them anything you want. And they will spit it right back at you, as Andrea says, like a parrot. But they will only be the parrot if you can get them to trust you. So, as you say, Olesia, all of this stuff will work incredibly well, but you need to build understanding of who you are, the entity behind the website owner, and the content creator. If it trusts those, then it will start to believe you, and then it will start to spit this stuff back like a parrot, as Andrea said. You can get the machines more or less to dance to your own tune.
Yeah,
Sometimes you cannot do that, but you need to. Sorry, I'll just a few remarks. You need when you cannot build this entity, trustworthy entity right away, but you have limited time and limited resources, and you might not have this persona after your website or something else. You can build confidence with facts. So Google uses Egg Checker or something similar to check the facts on the page, and the score of the trust you get by them checking this page, if it gets high enough. So you need to find a balance here between the value of the page and the facts that you are giving out. But anyways, so in this manner, you can also get more trust, even if you don't have this brand built as of yet. Sorry, Andrea.
Yeah, no. I was thinking about what Jason was saying on the creation of the entity and how this value network, then it's packaged for the search engine. The advantage, I think, that we can now take the same value and use it for training our own LLMs. And I think that, we've been discussing about the fact that each one of us has been one way or another experimenting with the idea of building, whether it's a chatbot or a language model or, any form of generative experience. And that's I think the beauty of it is that if it's packaged well for Google and it's Google is shouting your message, imagine what you can do if you train your own robot, if you train your own AI. That creates a lot of value for the users as well. I mean, again, it's a funnel, so you might get the user from a gatekeeper, from a search engine, but then what do you do with the user? How do you satisfy the information need within the site? I mean, we cannot expect that the static web page will be enough if a user has come through generative experience. I'm starting to question, as more people ask Google to send traffic to the websites, if we're ready for traffic that comes from generative search, if the website is ready, meaning that is the experience at the same level, or are we kind of bringing back the user to the old static web made of web pages? And would users still want that? I'm not sure, because I mean, everything is becoming so immediate, so direct. And so I believe that this work that we do for packaging for the search engine is also the foundation of the work that we need to do for ourselves, for creating something better than static pages.
Everyone's thinking about it right now. Yeah.
As I put in the
I was just looking at, you were saying everybody's trying out their bots, and we've trained CaliBot. We built a bot based on GPT-4, and now we're building one based on Gemini for the fun of it, just to see what the differences are, play around with it. And we fed it with 2 million words of things that I've written or said over the last couple of years. We're probably approaching 3 million by now, and we're desperately feeding it with as much information about our specialist topic as we can. And I just asked it what I say about Andrea Volpini. And the answer is obviously coming from things I've said. And apparently it says, I say that you're not an SEO specialist, but a knowledge graph and semantic database expert. I speak very highly of Volpini's expertise in machine learning, as demonstrated by the experiment they conducted together on Jason Barnard's SERP. It's a really lovely little text, and it does show you the power of actually having that focused, dedicated information in your own version of the bot. And I think that's something that businesses should seriously think about. Train a bot on your own data, because the bot is going to be
it's a pretty terrific experience, and it's what you would expect. This is why, coming back to the beginning,
well, as long as I say nice things about you.
No, but I mean, I love the fact that it's so immediate, right? That you can tap into your knowledge base, and and you can possibly ask to explain the work that Kalicube does to a 5-year-old, and it would do a pretty amazing job. So there is a lot of ability in language model to convert and translate content, make it accessible. Think about accessibility. I mean, for years we've been struggling with making website accessible to people with visually impaired or any form of impairment and disability. And now we do have these AI that can quickly fix and explain everything in different with different tone of voice, with different. So I think that the generative web, it's here to stay, and we have to just embrace it. How is Kalicube explained to a 5-year-old?
Oh, you're on mute, Jason.
Oh, you're muted, Jason.
It's absolutely brilliant. I just put it in because you suggested let's see what it does for a 5-year-old. And Kalicube Services is a big box of colorful building blocks, and using the building blocks to build your house, and then put your pictures of your house all over the playground so that when others see it, and it carries on. It's so delightful. I never thought of doing that, and I'm going to use that everywhere now. It's genius. Thank you, Andrea.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, it's one thing that language models are very well trained is to explain like as if I was 5. This is part of the original training sets, and so it's always a task that they accomplish well.
I think one of the main takeaways of this conversation is we're living in a fundamentally different time period, and we cannot cling on to the idea that it's just web pages and people are going to be in the internet. We have machines, and it is a great equalizer, but we have to work smart in a way that allows us to leverage the capabilities, the function of these machines, the gatekeepers, the search engines, to our benefit, chatbots, whatever kind of machine you want. So with that being said, who should reach out to each of you? I think maybe you can talk a little bit about your specialization. We have a good representation of people from around the world, multilingual. We have Portuguese. We have in Brazil representation from Alexander Rodriguez Silva. We have Russian, Ukraine, now in the UK with Olesia Korobka. We have Italian, and we have a multilingual panel here and distributed all around the world. Any kind of service you need around SEO is here. Just tell the audience a little bit about what you do. I think that'll help paint that picture.
Yeah, let me start it. So I like Joaquim, like in Portuguese, talk about. I stay here in Brazil. I am a semantic SEO specialist, and mainly talk about that in LinkedIn. So look for me in LinkedIn. We talk about and we chat. So I need to everything for me is to be here with these people is very good in this holiday here in Brazil, listen, learning, and I want to thank you again, Joaquim, to invite me for this conversation. And now we talk about all the time. When you dumbest person in the room, you are a lucky guy. So I learned a lot today. So it's good to be here, and thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks to you. Yeah, I mean, follow me on X. I'm CyberAndy, or just follow WordLift on LinkedIn or on X. It's WordLift.at. If you want to know more about AI applied to digital marketing, now I'm totally convinced by Jason that I don't do SEO, I do digital marketing. No, just kidding. I'm still on the SEO front. If you want to do digital marketing, instead you go to Jason or Olesia.
Indeed, all personal branding. And I'm going to explain, if you want to know what we do and you ask Calibot, it says that we build colourful brick houses. And if somebody else draws your brick house incorrectly, we help you to go out and correct their drawing. Then we distribute drawings all over the playground so that all the kids, as they walk around the playground, see how cool your house is and they want to come and visit you in your super duper colourful kids brick house. That is so cool, and it's exactly what we do. So thank you, Calibot, and thank you, Andrea, for the idea. And if you want to know more about Kalicube, just search Kalicube, Kalicube, on Google or Bing or Perplexity or ChatGPT and ask what we do, or search Jason Barnard on Perplexity, Search Engine Experience, Bing Copilot, ChatGPT, and they will all say Jason Barnard is a world-renowned expert in digital marketing, knowledge panels, and brand SERPs, because we've educated these machines so well. And we can do the same for you. Olesia.
I just help businesses to organize their information smoothly and to understand what their message is, to organize this mess and to future-proof what they are doing right now, but in a way that can benefit right now to them. I'm using sometimes Andrea's instrument, WordLift. I'm used heavily Kalicube on my way. They don't know about that because I'm using that from different accounts and from my clients' accounts and all these kind of things. But all these tools, they help me enormously. And yeah, you should check them out as well, because for some of them, you don't really need some extra people. You just install them and look through them, and especially in Kalicube, Burns, so easily organized everything. You just go step by step, fill in all the information, and then boom, it's already optimized for you in the most magical way, and you suddenly have 40 hours more in your life that you can devote to something else that you like, and not do it yourself manually. So yeah, these tools are super helpful, and I'm super happy that they appeared and they are ahead of their time, actually. So you'll benefit from them now, and you'll benefit from them in the future as well.
Ooh, isn't that what we're all doing? We're all cleaning up the internet, brick by brick. I think that's brilliant.
Yes.
I'd just like to thank you guys for being part of this wonderful panel. We have people with some serious brain power at different levels of this ecosystem. We have the people in the front lines like Olesia and Alexander developing taxonomies, ontologies, implementing these tools. And we have people like Jason and Andrea developing these tools, these platforms, listening to the power users, and trying to find a way to navigate this ever-evolving dynamic landscape of content, marketing, communications, and building the dialogues and relationships with people.
Cool.
So
thank you very much.
thank you for
Thank
attending,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. It was delightful.